was doing running, except for the different call system and stuff. Sorry. They're going to run Cam through the middle of the line so he can get more injured again, mess up his foot again. No wide receivers. You stick him out there with a scat back running back who's undersized, who really can't play. I mean, really ain't that all that good, but because he's white, he gets all the he's got to give we got to get him a 100 carries a game or something outrageous like that so they can make him look good. And they can say, oh man, he's better than everybody else. And these ninjas, a lot of these ninjas go for it because I see those cats on freaking, I mean, I look on social media sites like TikTok a lot. And they up there eating the bullshit up. I can't stand when a ninja get in front of the thing talking like he is sports know-it-all on TikTok. Them ninjas be freaking going in like they know this stuff. The only one that really knows some stuff is freaking TJ. TJ from the Ninth Ward. Now he's a Bidenist. He's a Bidenist. Those Biden supporters that believe in everything Democrat and stuff is right. Everything the Democrats do is right. He's one of those, but he also speaks the truth. He speaks the truth when it comes to this. The matters of us always falling for that sports thing. I think I got one of his clips right here. Here's a listen.
Money, more than formerly successfully.
Wait, let me go back one.
The prospect of the money, more than formally successfully educating your child. Because if you gave a fuck about the education of your child, then you will realize the biggest hindrance to studies, to academics, is football. It's basketball. It's freaking sports. Period. How better would the grades be if he wasn't getting home at 7 p.m.? How better would the grades be if he could stay at home and study? So stop pretending like you actually give a fuck about this kid. And then when he break his neck on TV, you want prayers. When I'm telling your ass right now, not only will they denut him, they will destroy his body, they will fuck up his mind, and they will send him back to you. Right? Mentally challenged, send him back to you in a fucking prison uniform, because that's all the fuck we're getting out of football is nutless men and inmates.
Did he lie? Did he lie about that? Any statement that he made there? Because they coming back, most of them, 90% of them come back, 90-something% of them, besides Kaepernick, a lot of them came back nutless. Okay, maybe LeBron still got his nuts. Maybe a few others. But when they get on that freaking ESPN, and they talk all that bullshit, they up there wanting to save Rachel Nichols' jobs and stuff like that. Is that not a nutless? Those guys are nutless. Nutless brother guys with black face with nuts, no nuts. They've been neutered. They was one of the strongest guys. They can jump high. They can make the big dunks and stuff. No freaking nuts at all. I believe that the police is correct. Big 8-foot dude, man. Have I seen another nut? Got no freaking nuts at all. No, man, they got no nuts, man. They got nothing. They probably hard as hell when they're talking to you, though. Oh, man, if you try to call them out on your stuff, oh, man, I'm going to beat your ass, nigga, you going to beat your ass. But and that's simple for them. But if you got to go against the big dude, the people, the real bully, no, boy. It's like that story Ninja told about when the bully threw something on this other guy, hit him in the head or something, and he turned around. He know who did it, but he was mad to get angry at the guy that was laughing at him. and get mad and try to buck up to him. That's what these guys do. They do the same thing. They got no nuts. You ain't got no nuts. You got to demand respect. You got to demand respect. They ain't going to give it to you. You're going to demand it. Demand it. That's right. Maybe not that extreme, but they lowered it up. Now they get rid of him. He have no use for you, Ninja. You're no good. So say goodbye. You've been doing this for centuries. They've been doing this for centuries. Yeah, they've been doing it for centuries, RC. And they're not going to change doing it until we change it up for them. And we still haven't changed it up because we still standing up in the, the round still goes on. We don't get a chance to sit down on the stool and get instruction from our corner man, our trainers, or anything like that. Our trainers are being replaced by these white dudes, and they just telling us to go out there and and suck it up and stuff, and just suck it up. Big Apple Bastard says, why is New England's first pick in the draft be a lineman? It's going to be a lineman to protect freaking Mac Jones. Oh, the guy protect Mac Jones because he's a good guy. He's good. He's had a few struggles this year. We're going to protect him. He's going to give him all kind. They got him receivers now. They got all that stuff now. That's what they do. Can't keep sending grown men with I'm a top athlete. Yeah, you're a top athlete, but you don't have the support. We have to start telling them that you're just not. If you're a top athlete, don't have the sports. You've got to have support. It's not just about the players on the field. It's also about the coaches and stuff that they have off the field. It's also about the management that they have for you. That's running the things from inside the building. They're turning the lights off inside the stadium. It's all about those guys that pay that bill. About all of those people. All those have an integral part of what's going to affect you on when you playing your game. That's why we got a whole bunch of nutless guys out there when their career is over. They don't care if you if you in a wheelchair or not. All they're gonna do is make a nice little story about you on ESPN with the music playing, with the slow music playing. Do 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 do. When he hurt himself on the field, and the coaches went out there and they tried to he looked him in the eye, and then they'll have you in the wheelchair and all that stuff. And he just fights. He's such a fighter. Danny, whatever his name. Danny Buckets was such a fighter on it. He's such a fighter when he's playing, and now that, even though he can't move his legs anymore, or he's in a wheelchair now, he had to be fed through a tube. He's still a good guy. And they'll give him a GoFundMe, and they'll start raising money for him and stuff, and it'll be a good sob story. But that's how they really have you. That's what they'll have you do, all for their enjoyment. And meanwhile, they made millions and millions off of you. You didn't even have to do this. Hang up these cleats, man, if they're not there for you. The support has got to be there for you. The refs. Even the refs got to be there for you too. They got to be fair, and they're not. They're not fair, so don't play it. Don't play. Why play in the league that don't support you? Try to create a place where you can mentally prepare these children when they're playing athletes and say, okay, you're going to go after this money. You're going to get this money. You're going to get out the league. We're going to get this money. We're going to get out there, and we're going to get out there. We got to work on creating our own spaces, our own sports, even create our own sports that won't be colonized. Because all these sports you see here are all colonized. They're all colonized, and they don't give a damn about your life or what you expect. Grego says he went to the dollar store and bought all the buckets they had left for these tears. That's funny. That's funny. Man, Yeah, yeah. I ain't crying for Cam, cause Cam he nobody stopped and told him because probably because his father's a preacher. Those preachers, man, they be preachers be brainwashed like all of us. They probably and they pass along the brainwashing to every one of us. Somebody. I mean, he played in the league for a long time too. His father played, his brother played. Everybody played in this league, and nobody could sit and tell him that, hey man, just get your money and leave. Don't worry about the accolades that you don't have. You want to be amongst the best. I want to be mixing amongst the best players ever. Bump that idea. It don't matter. It don't really matter. It doesn't matter about that. None of that stuff matters. They made it look good. They make it look pretty. But if they're controlling those, look, what league, what Hall of Fame lets the sports writers decide whether or not you deserve to get in the Hall of Fame? That's a laugh right there. It's a joke. Tell you it's a joke. It's a joke. If I'm laughing at this stuff, it's a joke. It's a joke. And that don't even talk about that list that they put up on Bleacher Report talking about how worthless they made Teddy Bridgewater look. We're so busy chasing their dollars and their accolades and their thing, we forgot ourselves. We got to do what's best for the future. We cannot no longer think about what the here and now. When you're an athlete, that has to be the same thing. It even works over there in Sha'Carri Richardson got pushed out. Now they bad talking her crazy now because they said, oh, she did this and she didn't give the Jamaican people credit for the thing like that, and then they didn't do this, and they nitpick. They don't nitpick their own though. They'll never nitpick their own. They'll nitpick you. Nitpick black folks. Nitpicking black folks and have other black folks join in on the nitpick of the Jamaicans and stuff, and the Jamaicans be joining in and stuff, and then they create the whole thing where black African Americans are xenophobic and shit. They make that stuff up so they can continue their narratives and stuff, so we can be separated and stuff. And really on that thing, I think we all need to be separated, so we can learn refocus ourselves. We can go back to the corner, just like I say in the boxing. When you go back in your corner and sit and take direction from our leaders, which would be our corner man. Cause this POC thing they got set up, it does not work. Cause it's their setup. It's what they want. And you can't have solidarity when your own ethnic group, when your own racial group isn't strong, isn't solid. So it's already divided anyway. And so they want to create this mirage that is, it's a great group and we should all be doing this. There's something wrong with you if you don't make POC work. POC is their idea. The POC of their idea isn't solid. It's not solid. It's not a solid group at all. It's weak. And it's weak because none of them get. You can tell it's weak when the coon set up and everybody group has one, and they can say whatever they want to the other group, and nobody says nothing. Nobody corrects them. He don't get checked. That it's a weak group. There's no way. The Asians don't say shit. They back up. A few Asians say something when might say something when the Asian bill gets passed, and they notice that, wait a minute, this is a setup for the blacks just talking to black folks. Only like two Asian folks said something, and they drowned. Their whole thing was drowned out. It's a weak group, and there's no real solidarity within anything POC. That's a separate subject, but it's the same thing because it's all the same. The whole thing that they have going on in America is the same, even in sports. Get out of sports, man. We need to constantly just collect that scholarship, collect that money, get what